The Basilica di Santa Maria del Fiore, more commonly known as the Duomo or the Florence Cathedral, is an icon of Florence and one of the premier examples of Renaissance architecture. The question is, though, why was such a building built at the time? During that time period, during the 1300s and 1400s, major European cities were defined by their cathedrals. They were the iconic buildings of that time. Florence was one of the thriving city-states in Italy at the time, and it needed a way to separate itself from the pack, so to speak. Because of this, in 1296, Arnolfo di Cambio was commissioned by the city of Florence to design a new cathedral. Construction began later that year on the cathedral and was progressing well until, unfortunately, in 1302, di Cambio passed away. This began a tumultuous period in the history of the Duomo. It went through a number of designer and architect changes, and the progression on its construction slowed considerably. Much of the cathedral was completed by the late 14th century. Unfortunately, it lacked a dome. The main part of the cathedral opened to the sky. Because of this, the Medici family commissioned Filippo Brunelleschi in the early 15th century to create a dome. There was one roadblock to this. No dome had been created before that was big enough to cover the opening, and Brunelleschi was stumped for a while of what to do. He came up with a number of ingenious ways to build such a large dome. These included a dome on the outside and a dome on the inside. These included struts that ran horizontally and vertically along the inside of the dome, an inner and outer shell, and herringbone brickwork. All of these combined to help support the massive weight of the dome. When completed, the dome was the largest ever built and became an icon for the city of Florence and opened many new roads in architecture. Famous domes followed, such as St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, home to the Vatican. Domes were very important back then in architecture, especially in cathedrals, as they symbolized the eternity of heaven and the openness to the sky. The Duomo was a grand success, an icon for both Florence and the Renaissance architecture movement. And to this day, it remains a symbol of the city and a symbol of that time period.